Good day once again, students. Now we will continue our discussion on marketing with chapter 2 with the environment of businesses. Now, this is something we will have to talk about before we create our strategies in marketing. We first must know how to analyze the environment. Okay, so we will do your environment scanning. Environmental scanning is the monitoring, evaluating, and disseminating information from external and internal environment of the organization. Okay, so environmental scanning is a process of analyzing and dispensing information for tactical or strategic purposes. So before we create marketing strategies, we must know our internal, which is the microenvironment, and the external, which is the micro environment. It's something we need to analyze. The environment scanning process entails obtaining both factual and subjective information on business environments which we are trying to operate to or considering entering the market. Later on, we will be having different strategies on how to scan the environment. Okay, so let us first discuss what are the types of business environment. We have, again, the internal, and we have the external, or your micro and macro environment. So let's start with the internal environment. These are forces that are within or close the company and affect its interaction with its market, also known as your micro environment, which consists the company itself, whatever is happening within the company, distribution channels, and suppliers. Okay, when it comes to internal environment, this is something that the business has control with. It has control over with. Okay, while the external naman, the bigger environment of the business, also known as the micro environment, and we do not have any control on this environment or uncontrollable. Or we have even if you have a degree of control, it will only be a small degree of control. Okay, it will be more difficult for the company. Which includes your demographic, political, economic, socio-cultural, and the natural environment. Later on, we will be discussing these factors one by one when we go to the strategies on assessing your environment. Okay, so to give you a picture, a visualization on how the micro and macro environment works, look at this picture. Ayan. Okay, so as you can see, inside dito sa purple, the environment which is close to the company, which is there's a high degree of control, which includes the public, company, suppliers, customers, intermediaries, and competitors. While for the macro environment, we have little to no control. Excuse me. Ayan, we have the demographic. Ayan. Demographic is the key characteristics of the customers. Economic, what is happening, the economy of the Philippines. Natural forces such as, let's say, unfortuitous events such as bagyo, other calamities as well. It's something we have no control of. Technology, we need to adapt with technology. It is something we cannot avoid. If we want to stay competitive, we have to be we have to always adapt with technology. Political factors such as laws and rules being imposed by the government, and cultural. Especially with the cultural, as a business, we can never dictate practices when it comes to cultural. So we really have to respect and adapt these cultural factors. Okay, now let's start with the first and most common environmental analysis being used by businesses. This is the SWOT analysis. I'm sure by now you know what SWOT means. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Ayan. This is the simplest way on how to measure the macro and micro environment of a business. Internal and external environment. For the internal environment, we are going to use the strength and weaknesses, SW, internal. Kasi this is something that we can change, something we can modify, or something we can control. As for the opportunities and threats, this will now become part of the external environment or the macro environment kasi this is something we have little degree of control but we can adapt. Okay? Ayan. Such analysis of strategic environment is referred to SWOT analysis. Again, most common being used by businesses and organizations. Ayan. Okay, the SWOT analysis provides information that is helpful in matching the firm's resources and capabilities to the competitive environment which it operates. That's why, di ba, the SW, nag-start, yun yung start na ating SWOT. Kasi we are now analyzing our resources. What is our strengths? What is our weaknesses? As such, it is instrumental in strategy formulation and selection. Okay. Let's have an example. Let's try to do the SWOT analysis of Jollibee Food Corporation. Okay? Ayan. So what are now the strengths of Jollibee? And when you say strengths, it is something that the company is proud of, or it is a competitive advantage that the company owns over other competitors. So for the Jollibee, it is now the dominant brand position, or the dominant brand when it comes to fast food in the Philippines. Okay? That is the major strength of Jollibee. Strong brand loyalty from Filipinos. This is something that Jollibee has already built. No? That is why during events, saan ba laging pumupunta ang mga Pilipino? Pre-pandemic, always Jollibee. When we go to Jollibee, we are celebrating something special. Yun yung brand loyalty na na-build ni Jollibee. Okay? Superior menu, better taste and different products as compared to other fast food restaurants. Most Filipino prefer, let's focus dun sa fried chicken. Most Filipino people prefer yung Chicken Joy talaga over yung chicken products of other restaurants. That is why it is considered as superior over the others. Okay, some of you might disagree, but then again, majority of the population in the Philippines do prefer yung chicken or other products ng Jollibee, of that matter, over other restaurants. It is an indication of the success ng Jollibee. And corporate values of integrity, humility. No, this is something that Jollibee has built over the years, yung family-like culture. Even if you have watched yung some of the commercials ni Jollibee ngayon, they are now targeting yung family, being a family dun sa kanilang advertisement rather than introducing their products. No? If you will search yung YouTube, for some commercials, touching commercials of Jollibee, you can see na madami talaga yung commercials nila yung about family, about experiences, about relationships, rather than yung introducing their products. That is the family-like culture, the strength of Jollibee. So those are the strengths. Now, these are the competitive advantages of Jollibee over its competitors. How about their weaknesses? Ayan. Jollibee is very strong in the Philippines, but outside, it still needs work. No? The brand presence overseas as compared to locally is very different. Although there are branches of Jollibee outside the Philippines already, but if they are trying to compete with the brands present in other countries, medyo nahihirapan pa si Jollibee. So it is a weakness, especially when they want to sell their products overseas. Difficulty in selecting good franchise partners and suitable location for international investments. The business model of Jollibee is they are selling franchises. You can buy a franchise of Jollibee for, I think, the minimum now is 30 to 50 million per branch. That is the business model. That's why we have many branches of Jollibee. Dito pa lang in Baguio and La Trinidad alone. But we have different owners. That is yun yung franchising. You are the owner, but you buy the rights of Jollibee from the main owner, which is Jollibee Food Corporation. Now, when it comes to international, there is a very, very low of demand of franchising of Jollibee. Kaya dun sila nahihirapan. And it is considered a weakness when they are trying to globalize no, yung kanilang brand. And the third na weakness dito is the high employee turnover. And when you say turnover, high employee turnover, the stay of employees no, in Jollibee would only short, very short lang. For some time, baka hindi pa umaabot ng a year. What could be the reason? Jollibee, aminin na natin, pays very low no, when it comes to yung mga ating mga servers or yung mga, what is the proper term there? Yung mga nagtatrabaho sa Jollibee, very low ang salary. And some of the Filipino employees, ang ginagawa lang nila is they are using it as a stepping stone to gain experience, to apply in other companies that might give a better paycheck. And that's why there's a high employee turnover. Okay, so those are now the micro environment of Jollibee. Strengths and weaknesses, they could control. How about the opportunities and threats, the macro environment? Let's see. Opportunities, okay, there is a large Filipino immigrant population overseas. Okay, that is an opportunity. That's why Jollibee is trying to put branches no, in different parts of the world. Dahil in all countries, almost all countries, there are OFWs, diba? Filipino immigrants. That could be the target market no, of Jollibee. That's why they want to open branches in different places. Rise of emerging markets in many parts of Asia like China and India. Ayan. Okay. China and India, most of the global companies really want to put their businesses here because of the number of potential customers. If you try to see the population alone, diba, China is, let's say, overpopulated. Same with India, overpopulated. That population can be considered as potential customers. That's why global companies such as Jollibee really want to put branches no, in these areas. How about the threats? Ayan, presence of strong entrenched competitors like McDonald's and KFC. In the Philippines, not a problem. It is still the leading brand. But in other countries, medyo nahihirapan si Jollibee because companies such as McDonald's and KFC has already established no, their brand equity in those countries. Okay? If Jollibee want to enter those countries na nagsastart pa lang, it would really hard no, to compete. Difficulty in adapting menus to suit local tastes. Most of the food that can be found on the menu of Jollibee are suited on Filipino taste. That's why if they want to penetrate other countries, they really have to adapt the local food or the local tastes in their menu. And they are now having a difficulty no, in doing that. Okay? Let's say in Korea, I have heard no, Jollibee in Korea, most of their products are spicy and offering kimchi, then kimchi-based Jollibee products. That is one way of adapting no, to local tastes. And last threat is growing health consciousness in global population may lead to decrease in desirability of Jollibee's product. Jollibee food products are fast food. Fast food are not healthy. But that's why we have to take in fast food in moderation. Okay? And it is a threat kasi there is now a trend no, in around the world that more people are eating healthy food no, rather than fast food. So it could be a problem in Jollibee. For Jollibee, the future. Okay? And more customers are now health conscious. Okay? By analyzing this SWOT, no, yung opportunities and threats and the strengths and weaknesses, Jollibee can now create no, marketing strategies no, to adapt to the environment. Yun naman yung purpose ng environmental scanning natin. It's to adapt no, to the environment. And that's it. That's your SWOT analysis, the easiest environmental scanning procedure we can do. But we also have other methods as well, such as the Pest Analysis. You have also heard this no, in your senior high. So what is pest analysis? PEST stands for political, economic, social, cultural, and technological analysis. No. Pest analysis focuses more on the macro environment rather than the micro environment. So what are these different pest, sabi nga nila, factors in the pest analysis? Let's start with political. Degree and to what political factors regard how and to what degree a government intervenes to a company. Okay? Political factors, this is when a government imposes rules and laws, no, in controlling the businesses. Okay? For example, in Trinidad and Baguio, I will include Baguio, recently, not recently, it has been already a few years, but they have banned the use of plastic and plastic straws. Okay, now what does that entail to businesses? Okay, on a business perspective, the usage of plastic over paper bags is much, much cheaper. But then again, if we have the government imposing these rules, yun nga, bawal na gumamit ng plastic, they have to switch to paper bags or paper-based packaging. Pero, ang problem naman doon is, it is much more expensive as compared to using yung mga plastic. So, it will now entail additional costs to the business. But then again, we need to follow as a business. So, we really have to adapt, no, dun sa ganong law. Hindi natin pwedeng pagpilitan na I will use plastic because it's cheaper. No, we really have to follow the law. And this is one factor, no, political factor that affects our business operations. Another example, let's say you are a bar. Okay, ayan, isa kang bar. The peak hours of your business is gabi. Okay, let's say ang bar nag-start yan ng 9 p.m. until umaga. Then, La Trinidad has imposed that there is a curfew of 10 p.m. for all bars. Okay, now, ano ang problem doon? What do you think is a problem doon? Okay. The peak hours is from 9 p.m. You have to close ng 10 p.m. So you have only a profit hour of 1 hour. Okay, so it will now affect your profit level as well. Okay. Okay, so again, examples of political factors. All right, how about our economic factors? Include economic growth such as interest rates, exchange rates, and of course your inflation rate. No? For businesses who have applied and got business loans, the increase in interest rates would really affect on how they will pay their monthly dues, no, sa kanilang utang. Okay? So if the interest will go up, therefore yung kanilang monthly na hulog will go up. Especially with the inflation rate, no? Inflation rate affects businesses as well because there is now an increase in prices of raw materials. If you are a restaurant, yung mga karne tumaas ang price, syempre you still have to buy to produce. You have no choice but to increase your price as well. It's now a chain effect. Okay? Lahat nagtataas ang presyo, sabi nga nila. Okay, these are economic factors. Okay, let me just remove my head. Ayan, interest rates affects the firm cost of capital. Ayan, exchange rates. What do you mean by exchange rates? No, the value of currency from one country to another, especially if you are a global company. Nag-iiba yung exchange rates. If you will remit, di ba, the earnings you've gotten from other countries, i-remit mo sa Pilipinas, minsan nalulugi ka dun pa lang sa exchange rate. Let's say $1 million in US, pagdating sa Pilipinas, hindi na $1 million yung value niya because of the not influx, the continuous change, no, the value of exchange rates. Ayan. Economic factors. Okay, what else? We have the socio-cultural, includes cultural aspects and include health consciousness, population growth, age distribution, career attitudes, and emphasis on safety. Health consciousness, again, more people really want to eat healthier foods. Okay? So it will affect if your product, let's say, is fast food, maapektuhan ka talaga. Okay, population growth rate. Ayan. Ang kagandahan nito kasi sa population growth rate, na the higher population, it means more market. No? Age distribution, there are more children as compared to adults. So we might want to advertise or create products that is suitable for children. Career attitudes and emphasis on safety. Dito sa career attitudes, it is very interesting, especially now. The setup of family ngayon sa Philippines, the mother and the father are both working. Okay? Sometimes they have no time na to cook. Yun na. Sa pagluto pa lang, wala na silang oras. The solution or the economic solution that can be provided by businesses is to yung delivery. Instant food to be delivered at your home. Yun yung kagandahan on the part of the business because of this change in career attitudes that both parents are now working. So we target yung ganong problem. We solve that problem. Huwag ka na magluto, I will deliver your dinner for you. Emphasis on safety, especially now, COVID pandemic, we are on the global pandemic. Businesses or customers prefer to buy or patronize businesses that have safety procedures when it comes to COVID. Okay? Diba lahat na ng mga businesses ngayon mayroong arrows. Bawal na yung magtabi-tabi, dapat may social distancing. Bawal ka pumasok without checking your temperature first and yung kailangan mag-alcohol. These are procedures na. Because these are the emphasis on safety. And when you say safety of the stakeholders, which includes the customers. Okay? And of course, we have the technological. Ayan. R&D activity, automation, technology incentives, and the rate of technological change. We really have to adapt. If you are a business, we really have to adapt to technology. Dahil if you don't adapt, anong nangyayari na pag-iiwanan ka? Diba, your competitors are already leading in the game. Ikaw na does not want to adapt to technology, syempre, mapag-iiwanan ka. You will eventually lose your market. And that is the story of Nokia. Aware ba kayo dun sa Nokia, yung cellphone? During the early 2000s, Nokia is the leading brand, no, when it comes to mobile phones. But now, hindi na sila mahagilap. No? The reason is, Nokia, there is a trend na lahat na ng phones would switch to touchscreen. Okay? Nokia does not want to adapt to that change kasi they say that their keypad is superior sa market. Eventually, hindi sila nakapag-adapt. Ayaw nila, napag-iwanan sila. Okay, sabi nila, okay, I will adapt to touchscreen phones. Pero by the time that they have decided to adapt yung touchscreen phones, napag-iwanan na sila ng market. Okay? Another problem, ayan, because matigas ang ulo ni Nokia, majority of the phone companies are switching to Android OS. Sabi Nokia, ayaw niya. Okay? I will not adapt to Android. Again, napag-iwanan si Nokia. Eventually, nag-adapt rin naman siya kay Android OS. But then, yun nga, this is the importance of pushing by yourself to be adaptive when it comes to technological changes. Kasi napag-iiwanan ka. No? Yun nga, let's not be like Nokia, sabi nga nila. Okay? So I have included here another example, itong Xiaomi. Let's try to do yung pest analysis no, kay Xiaomi. Siguro most of you or some of you, ito ang brand ng phones. Which is a very, very good brand ng phone din. It is very comparable with Huawei and even Samsung. And it's a lot cheaper, Xiaomi. So let's try to do the pest analysis. No? Political, Xiaomi is a Chinese brand. Xiaomi has good support from the Chinese political system. So if this is a company that will sell their products in China, this could be considered as their strength. Political, the government has full support to Xiaomi, especially this is a Chinese based company. How about economic? Xiaomi offers quality at a price that is easy on the pockets and budget conscious customer. Okay? Just like what I have said earlier, Xiaomi products are very cheap. No? If they want to target yung people with lower na spending capacity or lower income bracket, ito ang best na option. Unlike Apple and Samsung, price is very competitive. Price is very cheap. Yet they offer similar features ng phone. Okay? Ayan. How about technological? Xiaomi offers gadgets with the latest technology, and I think their units now, they have the 5G. In the Philippines, we don't have 5G yet, but it's good that we have 5G ready phones. Para once na na-establish na yung 5G in the Philippines, our phones are ready. And ano ba ang 5G? Yung 5G is the newest technology when it comes to data, yung mobile data. And it is faster as compared to yung ating mga LAN and Wi-Fi. Now, phones capable of operating the 5th generation, ayan yung sinasabi ko, yung 5G, 5th generation of mobile communication. Okay. Ganda ngayon, no? It's the best time for online class ngayon because of the gadgets. No, let me just remove my face here. Okay, how about socio-cultural? Okay, more and more customers are switching to smartphones because of the benefits na binibigay ng smartphone to an individual. Ano ba ang nabibigay natin? Ano ba ang benefits na nakukuha natin from using yung smartphone? First pa lang ito, yung online learning. Having a smartphone, a reliable smartphone, can really help us in attending classes, doing activities online, submitting online, everything. Even yung searching natin, you are very lucky, no? Kasi during our time, wala pang data, wala pang smartphones. If we have assignments, we really have to go to the library, and to search. And I'm telling you, yung pag-search pa lang ng something you need to know sa library is very tedious. It could take you hours just to look for the information that you need. Now, all you have to do is to type in Google, verify the website kung totoo ba yung sinasabi niya, and that's it. Diba? You now have your information. Customers in Western nation have a notion of any product labeled made in China as substandard. This is naman a problem when it comes to socio-cultural sa other countries. Yun nga, because if we know that something is made in China, it is something with low quality, which is far from the truth. No? Even Samsung, parts of Samsung or parts of Apple are made in China. So it is wrong. That is a wrong notion na everything that is made in China is substandard or cheap. Okay? But then again, socio-cultural, in the US especially, they have the mentality na what is made in China is probably cheap and probably low quality. Okay? So that is your pest analysis. Okay, now let's discuss the last. Now this is the last environmental scanning method that we are going to introduce to you. I am going to introduce to you is the Porter's 5-force model, which is made by Michael Porter. So here are the 5 forces. Threats, potential threats from firms which make substitute products or threat from substitute products. Bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of buyers, potential threat from new entrants or new firms, and forces of competition or rivalry. Okay, those are the 5 forces that will affect your business. Okay, let's start with the threat of new entrants. Industry that is perceived as being profitable tends to attract new entrants. I'm sure you have also experienced this. These new entrants are firms that are interested in investing in the industry to share the growth of prospects. Okay, let's have an example here. Tingnan natin yung Facebook scene. Let's analyze threat of new entrants. Let's say someone is selling plants. Ayan, sa Facebook. Di ba, nung kasagsagan nung pandemic, meron tayo yung mga plants na very, very expensive na umaabot ng 3, 4, 5,000 to 10,000 pesos for a single potted plant. Okay? It is a very lucrative business. The threat of new entrants means someone will see that this business model is very lucrative, kumikita. He wants to enter yung ganong type of business as well. Until sobrang dami na rin ang nagbebenta ng halaman. Pansin nyo ba yun? Ang dami nang nagbebenta ng halaman. That is now the threat of new entrants. And eventually, what will happen? Kasi all of these businesses will be sharing the same market. Okay, same customers. They will now lower the prices, diba, to be competitive. And again, that's another threat. You have to lower your prices to stay competitive. Napakadami, not only in plants but any other products that you see no, sa online pa lang. So online scene natin yung Facebook. Ang daming gustong gumaya. I think that is the better term. Maraming gustong gumaya to the point that you cannot compete anymore kasi you cannot lower the price no na pina-price nila. Yan, ito pa lang yung plants. Okay, threat of new entrants. Okay, what else? We have the rivalry among competitors. Okay. Competition is a game in which normally one player loses at the expense of the another. Now, in relation to our earlier na force, which is the threat of new entrants, competitors, di ba? If there is an established business already, competing with another business that is also established, competition could be bloody, sabi nga nila. So this is an example. In Jollibee, in the Philippines alone, di ba, the number one competitor of Jollibee is of course McDonald's. Ayan. Di ba, they are now offering the best product in their menus at the cheapest price possible. And if you notice, if one will offer something new, tatapatan nung kabila. Okay? That is yung ating rivalry among competitors. The rival or the competitor is forcing you to offer a better product, which is sometimes on the part of the company could entail to additional costs. In the Philippines naman, Jollibee is still leading, but in other countries again, tulad nung discussion natin earlier, Jollibee is having a hard time to compete with McDonald's and other brands such as KFC, Burger King, etc. Okay, so Jollibee should force itself to offer better products and do better marketing. How about the bargaining power of buyers? And the bargaining power of buyers constitutes the ability of the buyer collectively to force a reduction in the price of the product. Question: does the buyer have a power to control prices of a product? Yes. Okay. Simply, if they find the product expensive, they will not buy that product. Diba? At anong gagawin ng business kung walang bumibili ng kanilang produkto? Siyempre, they have to lower the price until to the point that the customer is willing or comfortable to buy that product at that price. That is now the bargaining power of buyers. So, wag kayong magulat if you see some commodities or products that are very expensive. Tapos magrereklamo kayo. For example, ito na lang, Starbucks. Ayan, Starbucks. Ang mahal naman yan, 200 pesos per cup. The bargaining power of the buyer should be, kung walang bibili ng Starbucks, bababa ang price niya. But as long as there is someone who is willing to pay for that price, magre-remain yung price niya, yung Starbucks, which is happening now. Di ba, nagre-retain naman yung price kasi there would be always someone who will buy the product. Okay? Ayan. Dito pa lang, the best example that I can give, yung pinaka-micro na setting is yung towel system. Di ba, sa ukay-ukay na lang, let's say. Bargaining power of the buyer. Ayaw mo bilhin yan hanggat hindi niya babaan yung price. That is the simplest concept dito. yung tawad-tawad system. How about the suppliers? Does the supplier have say dun sa price of the product? Like the bargaining power of buyers, suppliers too have the level of bargaining power. Suppliers, they sell the raw materials to companies. Okay. Now, what could be the bargaining power of the supplier? Siyempre, if a company, let's say ako yung supplier, a company buys raw meat, yung karne ng baboy na lang sa akin. Ayan. We have already built the relationship. Ayan. Then suddenly, nag-hit yung ASF, African Swine Flu. With the low supply of pork, I have no choice but to increase the price. Okay? That is my bargaining power. You buy it or no. Okay? Yung business naman, wala siyang choice. Siyempre, yung pork lang na galing sa akin, ang gusto niyang quality, he has to buy that product. Okay? So, since mataas yung price ng aking supply, mataas rin ang kanyang price ng kanyang final product. Okay? So, I also have a power in dictating his price. Okay? Yan yung bargaining power of supplier. Okay? Ayan. But if you are a business, let's say doon naman sa point of view of the business, sobrang taas na nung price ni supplier. Okay? Hindi mo na kaya. So what would you do? This is now, you are now forced to find alternative suppliers. Try to find other suppliers that can give you the price that you are comfortable to buy then. Okay? Yeah. What else? And we have the threat of substitute products. Substitute products or services are those that apparently are different but satisfy the same set of customer needs. So here are some examples. If you are hungry, you can either buy to McDonald's, Burger King, or you can eat a cake or eat a donut. All of these products can satisfy the same need. So if you are McDonald's, let's say you are the owner of McDonald's, these businesses are now becoming your competitors kasi they could provide alternative products that can satisfy the same need of your customer. Tama ba? So you are already forced then to compete with these companies. Another example dito, either I can commute or I can buy my own car. No? If you notice, parang different industry siya, yet they satisfy the same need. Ano yung need? The need of transportation from point A to point B. Another dito, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, tea, or coffee. Ano ang need na satisfy niya? Yung thirst. Yet, if you notice, yung soft drinks is very different from coffee-based products. Tama ba? Yet, they satisfy the same need. So, these businesses who offer an entirely different product could be now your competitor. Yan yung tinatawag natin na threat of substitute products. Okay? Ayan. Kaya ang gusto kong strategy na ginagawa ng Jollibee in Baguio City. If you go to Baguio City, ang daming branches ng Jollibee. The rule ng Jollibee doon is 2 branches of Jollibee, 1 in every 1 branch of McDonald's. Because they are trying to fight itong threat of substitute products. Let's say if you are walking in Session Road, ayan, nagugutom ka, you want to eat in a fast food. Plan mo kumain ng Jollibee. Pero ang pinakamalapit is McDonald's. Siyempre, if you are really hungry, punta ka sa McDonald's. So what is Jollibee trying to do is there should be Jollibee in all corners. So hindi ka pupunta dun sa substitute. Diba? If you are hungry, merong malapit na Jollibee. Okay? Ayan. Doon naman yung naging strategy ni Jollibee in fighting yung threat of substitute. Okay? And that's it. That's the end of chapter 2. Okay, so we are already done with chapter 2, the scanning, the environment or our environmental analysis. All right, our requirement again is if you have watched this video from start to finish, please comment your name and your section to our dun sa baba. In this YouTube video, it will now serve as your attendance. So thank you for watching this session natin in chapter 2, environmental scanning. And I will see you in our next meeting. Goodbye. Thank you.